Namaste, my dears. So we continue with some wisdom sharing. And there came a lot of questions connected about the ancient medicine, about the differences which we have right now in current modern medicine and the ancient ones. So I decided this topic is very interesting, as I believe that there are some very beautiful things and important things which our ancestors knew and which we forgot. And did we forgot them by accident or by conscious choice by somebody? This is a good question. So let's have a look and synchronize and think how much of the old methods could be used currently in the modern times. So all of the ancient cultures, they knew about the human body and the soul much more than our modern science does. At least that what is being educated in school and universities. For example, the ancient ones had a holistic approach towards wellness. Ancient cultures understood that health is a balance between the body, the mind, and the spirit. Healing was not just curing symptoms, but restoring harmony within the individual. In other words, any spiritual conflict between the consciousness and the soul would eventually create a vibration, a pain, which will be reflected in the physical body as a reflection in a sickness or some kind of a pain. So until we won't solve the inner conflict, well, the body will stay sick. If we don't go to the roots, why did I get sick in the first place, we will never understand what is the root cause. And treating symptoms is the same as trying to, let's say you have a fire, and rather than flushing all of the fire out, you would just flush out just a small part of fire next to you and say, well, maybe that fire will just go away by itself. Of course, it sounds stupid, but this is the modern approach that we have currently with dealing with sicknesses. So in ancient times, it was the use of natural remedies and herbs which was the most popular and the most used. They didn't have oil production chemicals, so they were using their body and what the nature has given. At the same time, there were very nicely known wisdom plants or the plants of power, herbs, mushrooms. They also used natural elements. All of these things were a central part in treating a person, in helping him to heal himself, to change the inner vibration, so that through inner vibration, the outer structure would change. So it's interesting to notice that cultures like the Egyptians, Chinese, or the Ayurveda, Indian practitioners, knew which exactly herbs and mushrooms you had to use for the best healing and spiritual well-being. So in those times, they also were using sacred rituals and ceremonies. Healing ceremonies often were involving prayers, chants, rituals, believing that it can involve the divine energy or spiritual forces to assist the healing of the process. Or, in other words, to ask yourself for your inner guidance and healing. If you are requesting for healing, if you believe that you will heal, if you focus your consciousness upon healing, well, try to guess what will happen. And now think if some authority person will tell you that you will die, you will stay sick for all of your lifetime. If you don't take these pills, you're going to get even worse. Try to think if a person constantly thinks that he is sick for all of his lifetime. What would that manifest? How would the body adapt to such a type of a mindset? How could you change this mindset? Well, exactly, the changing of the mindset is closely connected with the inner essence, inner conflict, and a spiritual ceremony can profoundly help a person to transform his inner programs into something new, through which, of course, healing can happen. So, another interesting thing which modern times rarely the doctor touches is the energy and the vital life force. The cultures, such as Chinese, they had a tradition connected with Qi energy or Qi energy. The Indians use such a type as prana energy. The Polynesians had such a term as mana, or mana, which we often see in computer games. recognize this life energy flowing through the body as an essential part of the structure of us. And there were different techniques like acupuncture, acupressure, pranic healing, or different type of energy work, which was focusing on balancing this energy force inside of us. So when you know where is the energy block and you make a very specific impact on that blockage, it can unfold. And I went through many practices, and I can tell you that, especially, for example, acupuncture, acupressure, it is so fundamental when you push and assist that pain stuck in those energy spots to come out. You feel immediately a big change, and your vibration inner changes. And of course, outside, you also feel yourself much, much better. At the same time, it is important to notice in modern times, they have put on modern doctors the roles which back then were played by shamans, priests, and spiritual healers, as they acted as intermediates between the spirit realm and patients, channeling divine power of healing. So back in those days, the doctor to who you were coming was purely focusing on you, on your soul, and making the connection and understanding why you have right now this problem. What is the root of your problem in your energy structure, in your consciousness, in your soul, with life? So do you get enough of time for your specialist to dive enough deep into your personal uniqueness and well-being? Can somebody tell you deep enough to the roots in 15, 20, or 30-minute time through a visiting session? Well, back there, the healers knew everything takes its time, and it's important and valuable to invest this time to a person to assist to go to the roots. It's interesting to notice that back then there was a very strong respect and interest towards dreams, visions as a diagnostic tool. In other words, now when people were sleeping, they got dreams like we do right now. And if we analyze those dreams, it can profoundly help us to understand what is the inner conflict and which things we should focus upon. For example, this practice was very popular between the Greeks and the Native Americans. They looked upon the dreams and visions for insights into alignments to their spiritual unique paths and the significant information which the spirits were sharing. Also, at those days, sacred spaces and healing sites were part of the healing process. In other words, specific locations such as temples, hot springs, and sacred groves, forests, were regarded as portals for spiritual healing, drawing divine energy to promote the wellness. So if you would spend more time in the nature, where it's very beautiful, wherein you will spend your time in such sacred spiritual places, you will see that even by being there, you can fully change. You can heal. Your mind heals. Your vibration of the body heals. Imagine that you're in a box. Everybody around you are sick. There's no sunlight. You have a lot of stress. Everybody around you are running around, dying, and taking chemistry pills. Or you would be sitting or laying down in a cozy place and observing how the jungle speak or how the sunset sets. So, making a small summary of everything that has been shared. We live in a time when we can use the knowledge of ancestors and the best things from the modern medicine. We have to understand realistically that currently, unfortunately, doctors don't have not the time for diving deep into your problems, nor usually they're allowed by the rules what they have to integrate any of the ancient knowledge. And for that reason, we have to know that we're the only ones who are the most responsible for our own health, and it's only our duty to study things which might help us. So I inspire everyone now who are in the search for the answers to dive deep into the study. What did our ancestors do? How did they heal the soul? How did they, which techniques they were using to work with the physical, emotional, and mental bodies? And if you have tried one side, then try the other one. In some situations, our modern medicine can help profoundly, especially when a person needs an operation, that he has broken a bone or something in this sort. But on the other hand, with the deep healing, it's much more effective to approach the ancient methods and always to go to the root of the inner conflict that appeared inside of us that created the sickness, or to analyze which type of stress and situation brought us this dynamic, let's say, energy which had an impact on myself. And always remember that anything that is happening in your life, it's only your creation. And if you have created this sickness, this problem, this situation, then of course, try to guess who can solve it. Of course, only you. So be confident that everything you have done in your life and any complex situation that you have, that you can handle it, you can transform it. And your body, it belongs to you. Your body, it's like your own avatar, your own instrument. So feel it with love, feel it with support, feel it with a deep understanding that my body, it has served me and it will continue to serve me in a beautiful way. Most important is just to love myself in my thoughts, in my words, and in my actions. And then such healing will happen and such transformation can unfold that no words will be able to describe it as simply magic. So, namaste, my dears. May this help for the ones that are seeking it. Like, share, subscribe, anything. And I'm very happy to greet you all on this wonderful channel and in this wonderful reality. Let's stay in touch and move on. I worship the God within you. Namaste.